If I've at least learned one thing from this movie, it's that going into the woods is both the cause and solution to all of life's problems. Into the Woods is based on the musical of the same name written by Tony Award-winning songwriter and lyricist Stephen Sadim. It follows a baker and his wife as their house is placed under a curse by a witch many years ago, and in order to reverse the curse, they have to go into the woods and gather a few items to please the witch as they run into several fairy tale characters, including Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, who else? Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk. And all of these characters play a significant and important part in the film in what is basically a mesh of all these fairy tales in one show. Now, when I first saw the trailer for this, I thought it was just I didn't know what Into the Woods actually was. I know who Stephen Sadim was because he wrote Sweeney Todd. He did the lyrics for West Side Story. So I knew like his stuff, but I wasn't so familiar with Into the Woods. And when I heard that Rob Marshall was going to direct this, who of course directed Chicago, one of my impressions was, okay, this is probably a musical. And that's what it ended up being. Cassie from Rooftop Chats is a big fan of this show, and she told me it was a musical that she really liked a lot. And so, I mean, I'm the guy who's just like judging this from a movie perspective, and I thought it was pretty good. Which is funny because I'm always cautious when musicals are translated to film, because when you go to see a musical on Broadway, it's like grand, sweeping, it's epic, it's all like on stage and live in front of you, so you can appreciate it more. So for me, translating it to film is a bit of a tougher task because like it'll look more like a film rather than like an actual musical, and I think Into the Woods, in terms of the way it looks, is definitely something like those old Hollywood musicals like West Side Story, Sound of Music, and many others. There are many elements in this movie that are really remarkable. Like the production design is incredible. It feels very theatrical. I love what they do with the lighting whenever they're in the woods set. It's an amazing movie to look at. It's beautiful. The costumes are incredible too, like every little detail. And each costume matches each character. So in terms of the visual department, they did not screw around at all with this movie. The songs are also really good. I mean, it helps that the original songwriter worked on this movie as well, and given that Rob Marshall directed Chicago, a musical that won Best Picture, it seems like this was definitely a movie right up his alley, and the songs are great, with the exception of one, but doesn't slow the movie down. Really catchy. The choreography and editing is brilliant for at least the first song, the main Into the Woods song. And all the actors do a fantastic job in their roles. You got Emily Blunt, Anna Kendrick, Chris Pine. Johnny Depp has a very small role, which I thought he'd be annoying in, but wasn't really annoying at all. But the big standout of the movie to me, and let's face it, in all of her movies, is Meryl Streep, who plays the witch. She is really good in this, ranging from like psychotic witch to someone you actually feel sympathy for at points. Like, it is worthy of an Oscar nomination, as most of her roles are, because she's Meryl Streep. There's a reason why she's one of the greatest actresses of our time, and this movie is continuing proof of that. Now, as much as I really like this movie a lot, there are a few pacing issues, mainly in the second half of the movie. The movie kind of slows down in the second half. That's not to say it's bad, but it just, you can feel the length in that second half, where the first half, like, it went boom, 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 boom. It's like, wow, that was quick. And then once you get the second half, it just kind of drags a little bit. Luckily, I was never bored. And this is coming from someone who's not really familiar with the original play, so at least that was good. It may have been slowly paced, but I was never bored. Then there's a song between the baker and his wife, played by James Corden and Emily Blunt, respectively, that I didn't think was very good. It took place at a point in the movie where, again, this is someone who has not seen the musical, just judging it as a film. They just, like, kind of take the time to just stop what they're doing, sing this song, and then things just go wrong completely. So that part I didn't like so much, but that's just me. Because in the end, Into the Woods, I think, is really a great musical. It really is something that reminds me of something like West Side Story and Sound of Music, as I mentioned before. It's definitely a better adaptation in terms of like musical to film than Les Miserables was. Les Miserables was just so bad that it was unintentionally funny, with the exception of Anne Hathaway, who's brilliant. But Into the Woods is sort of the musical that I remember seeing. It's the classic Hollywood musical. I'd say it's worth seeing in your lifetime, especially if you are a fan of the musical. And I hope to revisit this movie very soon with Cassie, because I'm interested to hear her opinion on the movie. But when that time comes, it'll come. And that's my review for Into the Woods. Leave a comment, tell me what you thought of the movie, like, subscribe, go check out my video blog channel. You can find me on Twitter at AlexG8462. Go like me on Facebook /TheRealMrRobinson, and go follow me on Instagram at TheRealMrRobinson. Go check out my written movie reviews on Geeked Out Nation, and this is The Real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one. See you guys later.